Okay, let's get this. I'm gonna read some emails that uh, Suzanne Powell, wrote to her friends and family, and actually, she even wrote some. I guess some of these are from or to you know, um, people that went to church with her. Uh, I wanted to read first, though, a Facebook post that she had posted with Paul Rudd, with a picture of Paul Rudd, the comedian. And it said underneath it, it says, I don't know why I dreamed about Paul Rudd. I haven't even watched anything recent with him in it, but I do tend to go to the funny guys, not the hot bod. And if you knew the Josh I married, he was funny, just evidence of a weird dream. But if you go in, and like I said, you can go and check out her Facebook if you're curious. They also have Facebook also has a support group for Suzanne. Um, if you want to check that out as well. Um, okay, so here's one. I know everyone else. Sorry. I know everyone else will support me in whatever decision, even if that means I crash anyone's house in the middle of the night with my boys in tow. Hope that never happens or stay with him. But believe me, my bottom line is he will do counseling. And that was July 28th of '08. I'm sure if he fixes himself, everyone else will see a much closer version of the guy I married. And it will be easy enough to forget the hell and turmoil he's put me through. Um, okay. His dad told me the entire family knows how much I put up with. And that was June 30th of '08. Um, she also writes, it said, she writes an email, and basically Josh had made this list of the things that that Susan basically shouldn't be buying, I guess. And, well, I'll just read it. Susan wrote in another email a list that Josh thought she should change about herself. She also states that Josh accused her of having utter contempt for him because he wasn't working a regular job at that moment. Josh also criticized her for spending too much money on groceries. If you watched my other video, you would know that the man only gave her like $10 a week. How are you supposed to support two children off that, especially growing boys? They eat a lot. They eat you out of house and home. Josh says Susan needs to ... not spend money on counseling or anything else. His examples: makeup, yarn, or other crap you buy. July 5th. Okay. Um, Here we go. Every moment I step back and take stock of what I'm dealing with, it feels like a never-ending cycle, but I'm too afraid of the consequences. Losing my kids, him kidnapping, divorce, or actions worse on his part. If I take a stand on one of his ultimatums, like spending $20 on counseling, copay, or cutting off access to my paycheck. What a sick man he was. And that one was written July 5th of '08. This is July 28th of '08. He used to buckle me in and give me a kiss, hold doors open, sincerely worry if I didn't put on a coat, buy groceries and help me cook, clean, and or cook and clean for himself, hang out and talk together, watch movies and relaxing TV just for entertainment, care and make time for being with friends, groups, dates, etc. Go to church. Not be all radical about the latest huge world problems that all his rantings can't fix. Although he thinks he can. But when we moved to Utah, and more specifically when he got interested in being self-employed, working, and then we had Charlie, his priorities seemed to have changed. And my thing is shouldn't his priorities have changed in a good way? You know, when you have children, it's supposed to. This one says, this is to a friend. As I was soundlessly crying myself to sleep last night, I told him kind of desperately, "Now is the time you can say nice things to me." So he said in a tired, bored voice, "Thanks for helping me clean my office and stuff," she wrote on July 11th of '08. Oh, yeah, and then it says, then he kind of bumped me and I said, as a hopeful suggestion, "Are you trying to hold my hand?" And he muttered something not audible, and then a little bit later I held his hand for a while until he pulled away. I also want to point out that I didn't know this in the beginning, but come to find out, 6 months before Susan went missing, Josh was having an affair. So I don't know if, if that has anything to do with her missing, or why he was acting the way he was. But he was, sleeping with another woman. Sorry, guys. Excuse me. And so I wanted to answer some of the questions that I saw in the comments. And one of them was why Josh was able to see his kids still, or why the grandparents, Chuck and Judy got custody of the boys, but Josh got to see them still. Well, the thing was that Washington State believes in unification, and I'm not sure if they knew that he was like, being investigated or not, but which in my opinion, I think that should matter, that they should never have tried to unify them because, but so the grandparents got the boys because when they found the computers with, the pornography on it for Stephen, they also found pornography on Josh's computer, but it was in cartoon form. And apparently that's not as strong as, I don't know how that works. But so that's why he still got visitation to his boys. And he got oh my goodness, what is it called? Supervised visits. And at first they did it at a like a family center type place. Well, Josh started fighting or arguing with the workers there, and so the judge moved it to where that he could do it at his own home. And the day that he blew up his house with the boys in it and himself, the boys had ran a little, further up from the social worker. And as she approached the door, she saw, the little boy run in the house. And she said that Josh had made eye contact with her as he was closing the door on her. And so she banged on the door and banged on the door. Of course, he never, opened it. And then she said that she had heard Josh say, "Charlie, I have a surprise for you." And the next thing you know, you hear the other little one screaming. The only thing that I could think of that was going on was that he had seen his brother get hit with that little hatchet thing that they had found at the scene. And so that's why he got visitation of his boys, which in fact he should not have. And I believe that Chuck and Judy were fighting that. And they think that could have been a chance of why he kind of did the murder-suicide thing. Another reason why they believe that he did the murder-suicide was because the boys were getting comfortable with their grandparents and was kind of starting to talk. At one point, I believe it was, I could be wrong, but I think it was one of the boys had drawn a picture, and it was a picture of a car with, you know, three people, and one of the grandparents asked him what was it, and he had said, this is daddy, and, you know, himself and his brother. And they asked him, you know, where was mommy? And he said, mommy's in the trunk. So we all know that at that point, you know, I think Josh might have been getting scared that they were going to say, because they were old enough to not understand, but they were old enough to see what happened and speak about it, you know. So I really think that uh, that Josh had an issue with that. And so let's see. Now I got to think of some others. So I told you guys about the emails. I told you guys the reason why Josh, you know, still got to see his kids. Let's see. What else is there? Oh, and just so you guys know, I believe it's ID channel. There's a new coming out this weekend, I believe, or it already came out. Okay, it's called Missing Pieces on ID channel, and I believe like right now you can only see part one, so it's only 15 minutes long. I mean, maybe I'm not uh, looking at the right one, but I know that there was a new one that was coming out. Anyways, you guys should really check them out. It's really interesting and sad, and um, but I hoped you guys, you know, I hope I answered some of the questions that you guys had about this case. Um, you know, what I find that's really sad about this is that everybody that was involved has basically passed away since. You know, Josh killed him and his two boys. Josh's brother Michael, you know, he died by jumping off of a parking garage roof. Um, uh, Stephen Powell, he died, you know, I believe that was of a heart attack in 2018. And so there's really nobody around anymore that knows any answers unless they talked, you know, unless there was other people that they had told about this. So, you know, um, and I do know that the authorities have basically called off the search for her. And what I wonder is, how can you do that, you know, when you haven't found her? I mean, that just really confuses me. But no, I just wanted, like I said, I hope I answered your guys' questions, and I didn't leave you confused on this case. And if there's another case that you guys want me to look into, let me know, you know, because I definitely will. It might take me a while to put the video together and put it out, but I definitely will take a look at it. You know, the biggest issue with me is the fact that I do a lot, you know, of research vigorously, and I don't like to you know, I like to, like I said, turn it into my own, you know, wording, and how, you know, and tell you guys my opinion on it, as well as read you the facts from the case. And so, but yeah, so anyways, I hope you guys have a good rest of the day, and I will be talking to you later.